Okay.
All righty.
Well, Carolyn, thanks for coming. And I'll do just a little intro here. I'm with the Goal Foundation, which is a nonprofit here in Ogden, Utah, and we operate the Ogden Marathon. My name is Alex Docta. I'm the operations manager and current race director of the event for the last couple of years. And this is, I think, maybe being dubbed our lead volunteer fireside chat. And it kind of came into my mind as soon as I started here that this is a unique event that is really run and executed by a sea of volunteers. And that sea of volunteers are managed by what we call lead volunteers, people like yourself. And for a lot of times they've been more invested in the race than the employees that are here in terms of duration. You guys span many more years than our current staff. Sometimes even if you put all the staff together, some of our lead volunteers make that longer. And so it's pretty special, and you guys are all great people. And I wanted to find a way to kind of share some of that information with the runners and the public. And so that's where the idea came from, and that's what we're doing here today. So we've got Carolyn Brierley, and let's start real quick with just the present. So what is your current role with the Ogden Marathon, and about how many years have you been doing that?
So I am over the Hall of Fame, and I've been doing that since I was inducted into the Hall of Fame. So I was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2015, and the executive director, Jenny, at that time said, okay, can you be in charge now? And so starting in 2016, then I took over managing the Hall of Fame. And I also have been in charge of the Lounge on the Line, which is the sponsor tent at the finish line. And I can't remember how many years.
But a while.
It's been a while, yeah. And also helped with what used to be 10-year club dinner, but is now the legacy dinner.
That's awesome. So this is a little bit of a bonus because the idea behind this is to interview these lead volunteers. And the Ogden Marathon had its 23rd running this year. And your tenure stretches beyond your volunteer duties. You've been around it since the beginning. So I was hoping that maybe you could give us, as the original race director and executor of this event, I was hoping you might give us a little background on how this event came to be, and then maybe we'll speak a little bit to your current duties as well that you mentioned.
Okay. Let's see. So in September of 2020, I was the special event coordinator for Ogden City. And the mayor was Matthew Godfrey, a runner, and he called me into his office and he said he wanted to do a marathon. And
this was September of 2000 or what?
Oh, I said 2020.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
It's 2000.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All those twos,
Yeah, there's a lot of twos.
A lot of twos, sorry. 2000, September. And he actually had a map that he had drawn out the route, starting up near Red Rock and coming down. Basically the route that we still have. Mm-hmm. A few minor changes over the years. But I looked at the map and I said, well, we're going to need to get some permits. And so let me apply for the permits and go from there. So I furiously applied for all the permits that were needed. And at that time, we needed to have Forest Service, BLM, all the Weber County departments, Sheriff, Health Department, all their different departments. And of course, Ogden City, I didn't need to apply for a permit because I was the one that did the permits.
Nice, little bonus.
And I knew I could get that one. So I applied for all of the permits. And I was not worried because I knew that we would never, ever get to run down Ogden Canyon. The Highway Patrol would have to be totally involved in that because it's a state highway. And had to have a permit from them too. So third week in January of 2001, the final permit came through. And I went to the mayor and I said, okay, we got all the permits, so let's plan for next year. And he said, no, I want to do it on Cinco de Mayo. And I kind of had a slight heart attack. I said, Mayor, that's only 4.5 months away. And he just said, bigger things than this have been pulled off in less time. And I was a wreck. I was a total wreck. He said, I got the city council to give me $5,000 to do this, which, I was in the business of producing events, and $5,000 was nothing. So I called a friend, Brian Green. He was running the Corporate Sports Challenge, which I had previously been running, and said, hey, Brian, want to help put on a race? And he said, what? And I said, a marathon. And he goes, well, sure. I said, I'll give you $5,000 and you can keep every penny. And whatever you make from the race, you can keep that too. So we did our first race that year, 2001. And we were very excited that we had a total of 620 runners.
Seems like a good turnout for first year.
That's what we thought.
Yeah.
We actually created the marathon relay that year, the very first year. And the reason we did was we needed more money. Thought, okay, these teams of 5, we'll get more money. And we needed volunteers. So we made each relay team provide an additional volunteer. So went out, got a few sponsors, and that's how it started.
Man, that's really cool.
It was stressful.
Yeah, I believe it. Well, I was trying to imagine, as an event organizer myself, I can imagine the time frame, and I can imagine a little bit of the thought process that you would have, but also the fact that you were starting it from the ground up that year is another level of, even as an event producer that you were at the time, but to know all the things you have to get into place is it's kind of comical, because we as a staff here, including myself, all semi lose our minds during planning season because it's unavoidable.
Right.
But the race is well up and running and a fairly well-oiled machine. And so to really bring it from the ground up, out of nothing is a huge lift and really cool.
Right. And we didn't have the technology that we use today. We had this great big map that was printed out by Weber County that we would lay out on the conference room table, and we would have what we called dot map parties, and we would put dots on this map. We had the route, and then we had everything color-coded: barricades, police, medical, aid stations, and we were putting all these dots on this map, and that map was our total guideline for the whole race.
Wow. I wish we had a copy of that map. I'd have it framed, hanging on the wall. That would be awesome.
It would.
Yeah. The cool thing is that you definitively knew the race inside and out, the back of your hand.
We did.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
really the morning of the race, for me to go out and drive the course and check the placement of all the barricades and the porta-johns and the aid stations and make sure that everything seemed to be where it was supposed to be. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was nitty-gritty.
Yeah. Well, to me, that's always been the best part of event building, is when you get close to that execution stage the week of, there's nothing you can do but execute and make changes on the fly. So the pre-planning stress is done.
Yes.
And if you're pushing porta potties around at 2 a.m., which we were this year, it's better than the fear of the 6-week out fear of a lightning storm.
Yeah.
The unknowing. So yeah, that's cool. That's fun to reflect on those stressful moments, I guess.
Yes, it was great.
So how many years were you kind of the lead race director then?
So I wasn't actually considered what I thought. I never called myself the race director.
Yeah.
But working for the city, I was over logistics until I retired in 2013.
Okay.
So from 2001 till 2013, I was the person over logistics before Goal took the marathon over, and then even after Goal took the marathon.
Yeah. Wow.
So
that's awesome. Yeah, and it's a good thing to point out. One of the things that I think makes this event very unique is it is a city-owned event, and it's currently contracted to the Goal Foundation, and we kind of operate and execute the event. But the inputs from everybody from the current city ACE team to local police and sheriffs and fire department is kind of over the moon compared to what I've seen anywhere around the country in the races I've worked on.
Yes.
And so you definitely had a hand in kind of building that out, which is very cool.
Very lucky that the city is so engaged, city and county.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, so now here we are 23 marathon years later, 24 years later in total. And you work and manage the Legacy Club and the Lounge on the Line, which is kind of a place for our friends and community partners and sponsors to hang out throughout the race. It's right along the finish line, right kind of in this key fun area. So out of like a mix of the whole thing, a couple maybe memorable moments, I guess, that you've had with your tenure with the marathon.
Every year at the finish line, there is this anticipation of when is the last runner coming in? And we are checking with the timing people, and we're checking with the police, and and everybody's on their radios, and where's the last runner? Where's the last runner? And every year, Ogden City Police Department is so good. They never abandon that last runner. And they bring that last runner in with the flashing lights, and they have the community police officers. And that last runner is usually an hour past the shutoff time.
Yeah.
And a lot of the crowd has dissipated, all their runners have all come in. But we have so many dedicated volunteers at the finish line and staff and people who just want that. I don't want to say closure, but that's kind of what it is. Like it's the closure of the race.
Yeah.
But there are so many tears. I'm getting choked up just thinking about it. But there are so many tears, and everybody cheering and ringing bells and bringing that last runner across the finish line. And it is so rewarding to see these people who have struggled along the way, and maybe they got in over their heads, but it is so rewarding. And this year I actually knew the last runner, and I took a picture of her, and she was just like, will you please send that to me? She's just in tears. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was just really awesome. And every year that is probably the most emotional piece of the marathon.
Yeah. Cool. That's really neat. Yeah. And you're well positioned for it there at the, the Lounge on the Line, right under the finishing truss there. So that's
yes.
Cool. Yeah. Well, you kind of hinted at your career with the city, but just to fill others in on your life outside of involvement with Ogden Marathon. You're a very community-minded person. So what kind of things, career-wise, you can speak to that a little bit, and then maybe your hobbies or what you like to do outside of donating your time nowadays to a large event like the marathon. What do you get up to?
So when I retired from the city, it was still in my blood. I was actually nervous about retiring because I was so involved in the community and knew everybody in Ogden, it seemed like. And so I was offered a position with the historic 25th Street Business Association. They needed an executive director, part-time, and I thought, how perfect would this be? And they thought the same thing. So I transitioned to the 25th Street Business Association and was their executive director for 2 years, and did their events. Farmers Market was actually being run by Downtown Ogden Inc., but the historic 25th Street Association, we took it down the whole street.
Okay.
And then Harvest Moon celebration, and I had started the car show, the 25th Street Car Show, when I worked for the city, and so I just continued that and was still over that with the business association. So for 2 years. So then I was like, okay, that was a nice transition to full retirement. So now I golf. I'm on the board of my golf league, and it's really fun. I oil paint. I scrapbook. My husband and I have a classic car, a 1963 Ford Country Squire station wagon.
Wow.
That we bought last year and sold our 1939 Ford Coupe. And so we do a lot of car shows and we just have fun.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Retirement is wonderful.
Yeah. It seems like a good place to get to,
Yeah.
you know? I'm into that. Yeah. I'm not quite to planning out mine yet, but I have dreams about it. One thing I think that's pretty cool with all of these lead volunteers, and again, we spoke to you. You have a deeper and transcending background that kind of transcends beyond just the regular lead volunteer, but clearly you're very tied to community and volunteerism. And what is it that what is the value in that to you, or what is it that drives you to give your time back to the community?
I've had two main jobs in my career, and I never felt like I needed to be rewarded other than the rewards that I got from doing my job. And my job as the event coordinator for Ogden City, my reward came when I put on an event and I saw the smiles on people's faces. When I saw that people were happy, people were having a good time, and inside I could say, you know what? I did that. That I was part of that. I was part of their happiness. I was part of them having a good time. And I didn't need any other reward. And that just spurred me on to do more events.
Yeah.
you know?
That's awesome. Yeah, I think if there's one through line that's beginning through talking to different leads, it is the fact that at events like the Ogden Marathon and other ones, you are going to see smiling faces. You are going to see people who are achieving things that maybe they weren't sure if they could do, and there is some power and good, wholesome feelings involved with knowing that you helped facilitate a small part of that, for their experience.
The other thing is, having been involved for so long, whenever we do a goal event, I run into all these volunteers that are repeat volunteers that have also been involved for a long time. And every event's like family reunion.
Yeah.
mini goal family reunion.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so cool. Yeah. Well, so if you had to make a pitch out of that, like to volunteers, what would you, and you may have said this in the past, when you would encourage people to volunteer for an organization like Goal or the Ogden Marathon or the Ogden Downtown Alliance or Historic 25th Street, what would you say to a prospective volunteer if they're on the fence?
Which I have said. I have said, try it. You will love it. You will be so happy that you did, that you gave a little part of you. Just try it. Just one time. You will be hooked.
Yeah.
And I've done that with a lot of people.
Nice. I like it. Well, everybody could always use more volunteers. And I think we're pretty lucky here at Goal and with the Ogden Marathon and this community in general that we have fantastic volunteers and builders that have transitioned more to volunteers and facilitators like yourself. And we hope that you'll continue. We hope to continue to see your face around our event as well as we get closer to the 25th running of this event, which is now just 2 years off. Yeah, thanks so much for taking the time.
I will be there.
Yeah.
You know I will.
I know you'll be there. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to say to the community, people that might be watching this?
I think that the volunteerism in Ogden is absolutely wonderful. And back when we hosted the Olympics, when Salt Lake had the 2002 Olympics, we were very lucky to get to capture that volunteer spirit. And Goal took that ball and ran with it. And I think it's just awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It is cool. It's, I try to imagine that sometimes. It's pretty exciting, whether that finds me here at Goal yet or not, but to know that we've got the 2034 games coming, and to see what that brings to the community and what Goal's role is and how we can help connect volunteers kind of in some way to the downhill events and stuff will be pretty cool, So it seems unique. It's cool that we get to play that role again and maybe be more involved in the Olympics this time because we weren't created at that time. So yeah, it'll be neat.
Yes.
So
great opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure you'll be around for that too. So
I hope.
Yeah.
I hope I will.
I think so. Well, thanks for taking the time. We appreciate it. And you've done more for the Ogden Marathon community than anybody that I know of. And it's been super fun to get to work with you and to have you pop into my office. I was telling somebody this before that 8 weeks before the event now, at some point Carolyn starts coming into the office and then I see you through the window and you come in and you're like, hey, did you get this done? How are things going? This done, this done, this done. And that whether you called yourself a race director or not, that operations and logistics brain is still there. And you make sure that I've got all my I's dotted and T's crossed and it's always a welcome sight to see you stop in.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't want to be bugging anybody.
It's not bugging, We need people behind us, making sure that things go well because what you started has evolved into this fairly large and massive event.
Yes, absolutely. And it's crazy.
Yeah. But it's a good
wonderful.
Crazy.
It's a good, crazy, wonderful, absolutely great event.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, thanks so much for your time. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day and look forward to chatting again soon.
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah.